Okay, this is a quick tutorial on the AEMTuner software's drop-down menus. First thing you're going to want to do is open up a workspace. So if you just go to File, Workspace, Open, browse to wherever you save the Radium Engineering Lotus workspace file, and click Open. Next thing you should do is upload your calibration file that was supplied in the kit. So ECU upload calibration, browse to whichever one you want to use, hit open, and then hit go. It's going to want you to restart, key on, key off. And so the file drop down menu has your normal things such as Exige, if you want a new calibration, save as, open a recent calibration, stuff like that. And then the edit pull down menu, your common edit, undo, copy, paste, using all the normal hotkeys. Display and the Display Explorer. In here you'll see all of the hidden and unhidden features like 3D maps, 2D tables, options, channels, parameters that may be not currently in the workspace that we supplied you with. But keep in mind, a lot of this stuff is not needed in a Lotus. For instance, transmission, you don't have an automatic transmission Lotus, so you would never need to do anything with that. Another example is nitrous. How often do you see nitrous in a Lotus? Not very common, so we didn't put that in the workspace. But if you wanted to enable it, you can do it all in here. Other things such as options. So if you can't find an option in our workspace, it's going to be in here somewhere. This is the full list of options. Show coils display and show injectors display. This is already pre-set up for a 4-cylinder. You should never have to change anything in here. For example, let's say if we wanted to change this channels list here, you can now, if you go to display auto range displays, it'll now give you a full screen of everything automatically. But if you don't like that, you can just restore and then it'll bring this one back. That's how that works. Tabs. So currently everything in this list right here is in this tab of your workspace. If you want to unhide tabs that aren't shown in the workspace, they're all right here. Under the ECU tab, ECU drop-down menu, you have connect to ECU, or if you disconnect, this is the upload calibration we just used. You can set a password if you want to protect your calibrations for other tuners. Clear EMS calibration. Firmware, so AEM from time to time will have new firmware upgrades for the EMS4. If you want to, you can go to their website, AEMpower.com, and log into their EMS forum, and you can download all of their latest updates. Here's how you clear the EMS firmware. ECU connection preferences. So if you're having a problem connecting with a USB, just select this button and it'll find the right COM port on your PC or your laptop. Logging's pretty simple. PC logging, you can everything that's currently on display on the laptop will log. So right now we're live. You can see throttle right there. I'm moving that. So if I wanted to data log that, just go to Start PC Logging or hit F6. Now do a couple throttle changes here. Go back to it or just hit F7. So stop and save. It'll ask you to save it. Just hit Enter. And it brings you right to AEM log. Here's those throttle changes I just did. You can also download AEM Data's, the new AEM logger software. This is the AEM log, which is what they've been using for the last 12 years and works pretty good as well. Internal logging, so that's different than PC logging. PC logging is purely when you're on the dyno and you're tuning. You have your laptop in the car, you can easily data log like I just showed you. But if you wanted to internal log, this is when you would be at the track and the laptop wouldn't be in the car. Go to ECU internal logging setup, And in here you have fast channels, 7 of those, and you have 8 slow channels. So you want to set up your fast channels to be things such as engine speed, very important things to look at, you know. Now your slow channels can be other things like coolant temperature and air temperature, where they don't change very quickly. And then you can set those up on how fast, depending on what your runtime is. This is how this should be based on your runtime. So currently on our fastest rate, it's already recording 84 minutes of data. If you ever wanted to, I don't know, maybe if you're going on a trip across the country or something like that, and you want to record a lot of data, slide this over. You can say if I go to the slowest, this is how many minutes it'll data log. But your samples per second is suffering. See, now we're down around 1 sample per second on the fastest channel. If we go back to fast, you can record those 7 fast channels at 125 samples per second. Up here is your criteria of when you want it to data log. For instance, if you only want it to data log above 20% throttle, just hit 20, and boom, now it's only going to be recording above 20% throttle and 1500 RPM. That way it's not always logging itself. Loop logging, once it gets past its runtime, it'll just start recording on top of each other, all the old data. This is asking to reset the log, so after you've made these changes and you hit OK, it'll reset everything that was in there previously, so that will be, you won't be able to download that now. Anytime you want to download what you have in the internal logger, you just hit download ECU log and it'll pull all the stuff from the ECU. It might take 3 or 4 minutes depending on how much data you got in there. And this is just a shortcut to open up the AEM log software. Under the tools pull down menu, you've got configure outputs. So in here you can set some of your criteria. For instance, this is the VTEC. You can set when you want this to be active. So currently it's at 4700 RPM. Here's your slow speed fan on the Lotus. There's a general purpose output. But as you can see, everything here, GPIO is general purpose input output, and we got 1 through 8. And if you go into your Radium instruction manual, you'll see what we've already preset these up to, and you can go in here and change whatever you want. Another thing of importance is your compare with calibration. So if you have a dated or an older map that you want to compare to, select that, and then right here you have your current value. So this is the current map that's in the ECU now, and this is the map that you just selected that you're comparing it to. So here's all the options, and here's what's different between the two. This is a very powerful tool to use, because if you ever come up with a problem on the dyno and it's misfiring and you knew it was something that you changed in the tune, you can just go back and see what you changed that may have affected it. So here's the 2D tables. Here's everything that's different. So if you look here, the green line is what you're comparing it to, and here's your yellow line is what the current value is. And then also you can see your 3D tables and what's different. Wizards, not much right here that you need to change, because everything is already pre-set up with the right sensors and strategies of everything. But one thing you want to do is set up your throttle range. So if you go to set throttle range, wizard, it asks you to set TPS volts at minimum, so keep your foot off the throttle. It's going to sample what the voltage is right now. Now you hold it down full throttle and click the set TPS volts max. It's going to sample the voltage now. And then if I hit close, you'll see over here my throttle is now full. Now keep in mind the 2006 and up EMS kits, the throttle is going to be constantly changing because it's drive-by-wire, and that's how they control idle. So if it needs to open up the idle air motor, essentially it's opening up the throttle. So you'll see this changing all the time. On the 2004 and 2005 2ZZ GE Lotuses, there's an idle air control motor, so this actually won't be affected. This will still be always closed. Live tracing, so if I go to the table view, you'll see it's recording right now. It's showing you where you are. This is this little tail right here. I can turn that off if I want to. And that's all that does. In the help pull down menu, if you notice over here, this has a item explanation and a function explanation of all of the features. So if you go in here and you select a certain channel, it'll update over here and tell you exactly what it is. So that's the help menu.